This is Border Crossings. My name is Larry London, and on today's show, we welcome a country music duo called Striking Matches. Sarah Zimmerman and Justin Davis met while taking a guitar class at Nashville's Belmont University in 2007. The two formed an immediate connection thanks to a random class assignment and developed their own brand of country music. Their new CD, Nothing But the Silence, was produced by the legendary T-Bone Burnett. Striking Matches music has topped the country iTunes chart and appeared on the hit TV show Nashville. Stay tuned for today's guests, Striking Matches, next on Border Crossings. Hi, it's Border Crossings. My name's Larry London. Glad to have you with us. We've got two musicians in our studios right now known as Striking Matches. It's actually not Striking Matches, your name, but that's the name of the band. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Sarah Zimmerman.
And I'm Justin Davis.
And we are Striking Matches.
Now, what made you decide on the name Striking Matches? That's an interesting name for a duo.
Yeah, I don't know. We were really just sort of searching for something that was evocative of what we were doing in our live show, which tended to be pretty high energy, and it was just sort of evocative of that, and just like it could kind of come off the rails at any moment. So yeah, the more we sort of worked it out, the more it worked for us.
Yeah.
And you two met at school?
We did, at Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. We met there. We both moved to town. I'm from outside of Philadelphia, and Justin's from outside of Atlanta. And both moved to town to be guitar players. So went to major in guitar there at Belmont, and kind of got thrown together at random.
Yeah, it was just the first week of school, and they had all the guitar majors together in these guitar seminar classes, freshman to senior, in front of all the faculty. And being the first day, they were making the freshmen get up 2 by 2, just pairing you at random on the roll, and you had to get up in front of the whole rest of the class with this stranger, and you just had to improvise something on the spot. It didn't matter what you played, you just had to play something. And so it was kind of a trial by fire, hazing thing, and Sarah was actually the only girl in the class at the time, and I remember just...
Oh, you lucked out.
Yeah. Well, it was a lot of 18-year-old guys who had never seen a girl guitar player before in their life, and I was one of them. I had never... Bonnie Raitt maybe was the only one I knew of, and so nobody wanted to wind up with the girl. and sure enough, they were going along, and people were crashing and burning, and they picked me, and then they picked Sarah, and I was thinking, great, oh man, lucky me. And we got up, and I just, well, you play any blues or something? And she whipped out her slide and just kind of proceeded to blow everybody's minds. So
then you said, I lucked out. Yes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't guitar at first for you. It was clarinet and a few other instruments.
I grew up playing clarinet, violin, picked up guitar when I was about 10, and fell in love with the instrument, really. I played clarinet and violin all through high school, college, and stuff still, but still, guitar was always my favorite, and knew, even from the beginning, I think that I wanted to be a professional guitar player. So, yeah.
And in your house growing up was the Dixie Chicks, but you were listening to Sam Cooke.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a little bit of everything. I think that was the thing our parents really did right, was they just exposed us to a bunch of different styles of music, because my folks would listen to country music or southern rock or whatever, but they would listen to Motown and what was kind of their era, top 40 and stuff. And so it was just a wide variety, and I think the common link between them all is that we just tended to gravitate towards whoever's genre's guitar hero was. Right. And so we were in country, it was Jerry Reed and Chet Atkins and Chuck Berry, and I mean it just sort of was all over the place. Like we were saying, we were talking earlier, Lindsey Buckingham was a huge hero of mine from Fleetwood Mac, and so
Jimmy Page, Clapton, those guys. Yeah.
I had mentioned that you look like Lindsey Buckingham. So if they do the making or the history of Fleetwood Mac, the story, you'd be Lindsey Buckingham.
Just call my agent when I get one.
Well, we've got Striking Matches in our studios, and they're promoting a brand new album, Nothing But the Silence. And if you guys wouldn't mind playing a song for us, I'd love to hear a new tune from Striking Matches.
Well, this one's called Trouble Is As Trouble Does. With trouble now.
Hot boys put a tail last seen yesterday. Brown hair, brown eyes, third time run away. Put into a front porch last year on. When I saw you, daddy, coming, we were going, gone. Everybody says I lost my mind. When I'm with you, I guess I see why. I'm saying things I never say, doing things that I don't do. You're no good for me, and they say I'm too good for you. I can't help myself when you're around. Trouble is as trouble does, and I'm in trouble now. Everybody says I lost my mind. When I'm with you, I guess I see why. I'm saying things I never say, doing things that I don't do. You're no good for me, and they say I'm too good for you. I can't help myself when you're around. Trouble is as trouble does, and I'm in trouble now. I can't help myself. I can't help myself. I can't help myself when you're around. Trouble is as trouble does, and I'm in trouble now.
Woo! Striking matches here on Border Crossings. You guys are hot. You guys sounding great. Congratulations on all the success. 2012, you had the best EP, iTunes Best EP of 2012. And now you've got the debut full studio album out, Nothing But the Silence, which I guess was a thrill, not only because it's the debut album, not only because you helped to write all the songs, but you work with T-Bone Burnett.
Yeah, that was just something that we I think if you'd asked this 2 years ago, well, pick anyone. If you could work with any producer, who would be your dream producer? Doesn't matter if it's completely unlikely. And we just said, well, sure, it'll never happen, but T-Bone Burnett would be really cool. We love what he does, and he's been our hero. We've listened to his records all our lives, and sure enough, a year later, it was just when it came time to go make the record, when we had signed our first record deal and everything, he was the first one to come to us and say, I'd love to make this record with you if you want. And so
we thought about it for about 2 seconds.
As we kind of picked ourselves off the floor, we were kind of like, yeah, we'll get back to you, man. Probably we'll think about it.
Yeah, we'll think about it. And here you are with the debut album and on tour. So you're really, truly international stars. I know when you perform in London, all the shows sell out.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic,
really amazing, yeah.
They've completely embraced us over there, which is just, it feels so good because it's a scary thing, kind of traveling that far away from home. And you'd think we'd be used to it by now, but it was just before this time last year, we had never been there before, and now we've been back 5 times just in the span of about a year and a half. And yeah, we'll play Shepherd's Bush Empire when we go back in November, which is a really just historic, great venue, and all our heroes have played there, just all the great London rock and roll bands and just everyone.
Is the reception different when you go overseas versus in the U.S., or is it the same?
I don't. It's hard to say. It happened quicker over in the UK. The reception we get here is still incredible, but it's just there were like we just played our first Boston show, which is kind of crazy to think about because we've been almost everywhere in the States, and our fan base is incredible here. But the UK is just, it's concentrated just as far as square mileage, and so the fact that we've only been going over there about a year and a half or so, and just how quickly it's happened. That's been kind of the difference. Is we've been spoiled rotten with just how easy we've had it. So
in the industry, they have, you know, in the Europe and the UK, they don't require that you actually pick a name, a format, a sound.
Yeah.
In the US, they want you to do that. They want to put you in a box.
Sure.
Yeah.
How do you guys describe or define the sound of striking matches?
Yeah, it's definitely somewhere in between country, rock, and blues, I think. And
yeah, it's sort of an amalgamation of everything we were inspired by, which is tough to nail down in the first place because we weren't inspired by just one genre of music. And I think that's kind of a liberating thing when you go, when the culture doesn't care. It's just, do they like it or not? And
good music.
Then that's as complicated as it needs to get. And it's just different.
Yeah.
But it is kind of liberating because you don't feel like you have to necessarily create a certain type of music. You're sort of free artistically to just do what you feel compelled to do.
Yeah.
And you've been on tour with people like Train and Vince Gill.
Yeah.
They're very different kinds of music.
Yeah.
And you've done both and built your fan base up from that as well. And now your music is heard on the TV show Nashville, which has got to be a thrill for you as well.
That's been amazing. We've had 8 songs that we've written on the show, and it's just been absolutely incredible. You know, it's an amazing thing to hear your song on the radio, but then to see it on TV and have it have a plot line and a story. I think, you know, because when you write a song, you know what you were writing it about, but to have someone else's sort of interpretation of how they see the song and have it have a script and all these.
It's like a really expensive music video.
Yeah, exactly.
Not mere thousands of dollars, millions. We're talking millions.
Do you enjoy writing music for TV shows or things like that, music for movies and things? Or is it better or easier to write for your own album and your own stuff?
Yeah.
Which do you prefer?
We've really pretty much only written really for ourselves, and that was the amazing thing about the Nashville show and the other placements that they've had. We've just written these songs for us, and they've just latched on and have used them. So we've never really written thinking, oh, this is the plot and this is what we need to write for. We've just written for ourselves, and it's connected with them. So it's been really cool.
All right, striking matches on Border Crossings today. I'm going to ask if you do another song for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd
Love to hear something. What's this called?
This is called Make a Liar Out of Me, and this is kind of Sarah's chance to show you that slide thing.
All right.
Come any closer, somebody might get hurt. And keep your composure. I tell myself, don't touch the flame, you don't wanna get burned. And this kind of temptation, I swore I wouldn't give in. Once you felt your heart break, you find yourself saying you're never gonna fall again. So go on, make a lie out of me, prove me wrong if you want to make me believe in this feeling between us. Said I didn't need, don't you see that I love you to make a lie out of me.
Yeah, striking matches here on Border Crossings. And if you're like me and you're saying, wow, they're good, and look at Sarah, look at her just ripping it up. Well, apparently we're not the only ones, because you got a scholarship to Vanderbilt for your guitar playing.
Yeah, for well, actually that one was for songwriting. Actually, was what they gave that to me, and that's actually how we ended up meeting our manager, who became our label head. Yeah, was because of that scholarship, and so pretty cool experience to get to have that. And
things have always, nothing's happened particularly fast, with the exception of just how blessed we've been over with the UK, but things have just always seemed to fall into place really serendipitously.
Yeah.
From the way we even just kind of got thrown together to the way that we kind of just happened to be taking that class, and our future label head was the speaker one night, and he had just seen a video of us on YouTube, and so he pointed and picked Sarah out of the class.
I know you.
Yeah.
This is creepy. But and so from there, he was just like, I love the video that you made, and I think we chatted for a while at the class, and then a week or so later, Justin and I sat down with him, had some coffee, and he became our manager pretty soon after, and did that for a while, and then he had the opportunity to start up IRS Nashville, which IRS was a really cool label, back in the 80s and 90s, and
REM, and me being from Georgia originally, REM was kind of like the local band, and I remember their IRS record days, and that was just really cool. And it's all under Capitol out of LA, so we had our sign your first record deal moment where you show up at the label and you're kind of like,
we're in the building.
How did we get here?
Right,
I think every kid imagines that in their head as the Capitol Records tower, and so when that actually ended up being our label, that was pretty wild.
Really cool.
And I'm sure when you wrote your first song at 10, you never imagined that ever happening.
No, that's sort of just something that is your wildest dreams, and usually for a lot of people, that you just get distracted, or you kind of come up with new dreams, and so to kind of retain those same ones from such an age, and to know what you want to do from that early on. I either wanted to do that, or I wanted to be a paleontologist, and I just had to make a decision when it came to math. I can't, and so school was not going to be in my future.
And your parents are in the medical world.
Yeah, both of them, and so that was, of course, I had an aversion to that.
Were they thrilled with the decision to go to music? Hey, Mom, Dad,
Actually, they were pretty cool as far as they could have been. I think there was maybe a little uneasiness when it came. We had the opportunity to go write songs for a living, and that kind of leap of faith moment when we were in school but didn't quite graduate because things were getting so busy, and we kind of had to just go for it. And there was maybe a little, you'll be happier if you get your degree. I don't know. I think I'll be happier if I do what I came to Nashville, or what I set out to do in the first place. But they were pretty cool about it, though.
We're talking with Justin and Sarah, who are striking matches, on tour right now for the debut album, Nothing But the Silence, produced by T-Bone Burnett. And so as far as the album goes, you picked 11 songs, and you had a hand in all of them, I read.
Yeah, some of them we wrote just the two of us, and the other ones had just one other co-writer, different co-writers for every song. But yeah, so we kind of balance it out. We write a lot together and on our own, and so we usually start there.
Yeah, and that's usually important, just to kind of preserve the integrity of kind of what we are and what we do. And, but there are so many fantastic writers all over, but in Nashville especially, just add an element of inspiration. That they just kind of can shake things up when they come in the room. They hear something that I didn't think of that, and that's kind of the beauty of co-writing sometimes. But it usually just comes back to the two of us.
And who has the final say?
I don't know. I think part of the reason it works so well is that we usually tend to think the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, this really needs a slide solo, so obviously Sarah's going to play it, or something, maybe a finger style thing or whatever. So I'll probably play it, just because we kind of both have our strengths, depending on where it is, and it's sort of a friendly competition, friendly rivalry, rather than, we're not necessarily trying to pull each other down. We're trying to, just beat each other up.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Striking matches, and it's a great story. I mean, your story is great, how you guys met at school and you kind of got paired together by chance.
Yeah, we didn't even make it up.
No, I mean, you could have, but you didn't. But they're on tour, and the tour continues throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah.
The U.S., then U.K., as I mentioned. If people want to see you outside of the U.S., where can they find the information on your website?
Yeah, definitely our website, strikingmatches.com, and we have Twitter and Facebook and Instagram.
What is your Facebook?
Striking
address?
Matches,
Yeah.
just
Easy
slash
as that.
Striking Matches, at Striking Matches for Twitter and Instagram, and
All
we've
right.
got it
Our
all.
worldwide audience, I'm sure, will reach out to you.
Yeah, cool.
And check them out when they come and play by you. All right, well, if you guys would do another song for us.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
absolutely. I'm going to put my guitar down for this one.
Well, we'll do this one just because we've had so much luck and success with the Nashville TV show. We've had 8 songs on there, and a couple of them we knew that they were personal enough that we wanted to put them on our record, and so this was one of them, and it was actually our first tune we ever had on the show, and it was sung by the characters Scarlett and Gunner, if anybody watches it, and in the Bluebird Cafe, which kind of when we played this song for the music supervisors, they asked us our story behind it, and we were telling them we played it for the first time in the Bluebird Cafe, which was just a massive deal for a songwriter in Nashville, and so they kind of stole our story, or they used our story to kind of write into the show because they wanted to use the song badly enough that they needed a plot line, and so they just kind of borrowed ours.
Yeah. So it's called When the Right One Comes Along. There's no music, no confetti, crowds don't cheer and bells don't ring, but you know it, I can guarantee when the right one comes along. What they're thinking, what you're feeling, you no longer have to guess. And all these questions are finally put to rest when the right one comes along. Every single broken heart will lead you to the truth. You think you know what you're looking for, till what you're looking for finds you in a cold world. It's a warm place where you know that you're supposed to be. A million moments full of sweet relief when the right one comes along. Every single broken heart will lead you to the truth. You think you know what you're looking for, to what you're looking for finds you. It's so easy, there's nothing to it. You may not believe me now, but I promise that you'll find out when the right one comes along. And
changes. He's only everything.
When the right one comes along.
Very nice. Very sweet and tender and loving and warm. Well, Striking Matches, thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you so much for having
being
us.
on the show. And Nothing But the Silence is the name of the new album, which is now available. So go to iTunes and Amazon and to your website and get a copy, strikingmatches.com.
Yep.
That's all it takes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
And for the international audience, go see them on tour when they come to you after June. I'm Larry London. This is Border Crossings, and you are watching VOA TV.